Hello, welcome back to Drowsy Inquirer. Today, we are drifting into the endless skies above our world. We are following the wings of travelers who have journeyed across this planet for millions of years. Tonight, we trace the secret routes of migrating birds, the invisible highways written in starlight and magnetic whispers, the ancient paths that connect continents, cross oceans, and weave through mountain passes that humans have only recently begun to understand. So settle in, let your breath slow, let your eyes grow heavy if they wish. We have a long and gentle journey ahead of us, and like the birds we follow, there is no rush, only the soft rhythm of wings against the night air. Every autumn, something stirs in the hearts of billions of birds around the world. It is not a decision made with conscious thought. It is older than thought itself. It is a whisper encoded in their very cells, a message passed down through countless generations, a quiet but undeniable command that says simply, "It is time." Scientists call this restlessness Zugenruhe. It is a German word, as so many precise scientific terms are. It means migration anxiety, or perhaps more accurately, migration restlessness. If you were to watch a caged bird in autumn, a bird whose ancestors have migrated for millennia, you would see something remarkable. Even though it cannot leave, even though it has never made the journey itself, it would begin to flutter against the bars of its cage. It would orient itself in the direction its species has always flown. It would feel the pull of a destination it has never seen. This is the power of migration. It is not learned, it is known. It is written in bone and feather, in the very structure of a bird's being. But what triggers this ancient calling? The answer, like so much in nature, is beautifully complex. As summer fades into autumn in the northern hemisphere, the days grow shorter. This change in daylight, called photoperiod, is the primary trigger for most migratory birds. Their bodies contain specialized cells that detect the diminishing light. These cells send signals to the brain. The brain, in turn, initiates a cascade of hormonal changes. The bird begins to eat more. It must build up fat reserves for the journey ahead. Some species will nearly double their body weight in the weeks before departure. This fat is not ordinary fat. It is specially designed for long-distance flight. It is dense with energy, clean-burning, efficient. At the same time, the bird's internal organs begin to change. The digestive system shrinks. The flight muscles grow larger and stronger. Even the heart increases in size. The entire body is reorganizing itself for one purpose, the journey. And then, one evening, when the conditions are right, when the winds favor travel, when the stars align in familiar patterns overhead, the bird takes flight. It joins others of its kind. Together they rise into the darkness. They orient themselves by methods we are only beginning to understand, and they begin to fly. They may fly for hours. They may fly for days. Some will fly for weeks without rest. They will cross deserts where no water can be found. They will traverse oceans where no land offers refuge. They will climb over mountain ranges where the air is thin and cold. And most remarkably of all, they will arrive at destinations they have never visited before. Young birds making their first migration will find the same wintering grounds their parents used, the same trees, the same marshes, the same hidden corners of the world. How do they do this? How do they navigate across thousands of miles of unfamiliar terrain? How do they find their way in the dark? These are questions we will explore tonight, but for now, let us simply marvel at the fact that they do, every year, without fail. Billions of birds following invisible highways across the sky. Let us begin our exploration with a bird that holds one of the most remarkable records in all of nature, the Arctic Tern, a small, elegant seabird with a blood-red bill and a cap of black feathers atop its head. It weighs barely 4 ounces. You could hold one in the palm of your hand. And yet this tiny creature undertakes the longest migration of any animal on Earth. Each year, the Arctic tern flies from its breeding grounds in the Arctic to its wintering grounds in the Antarctic, and then, when the southern summer ends, it flies back again. The round trip covers approximately 44,000 miles. Some individuals, tracked by satellite, have been recorded flying more than 56,000 miles in a single year. To put this in perspective, the circumference of the Earth is about 25,000 miles. The Arctic tern, in its annual migration, flies a distance equivalent to traveling around the entire planet twice. Over its lifetime, which can span 30 years or more, a single Arctic tern may fly more than 1.5 million miles. That is equivalent to 3 round trips to the moon. But the Arctic tern's journey is not simply about distance, it is about light. By breeding in the Arctic summer and wintering in the Antarctic summer, the Arctic tern experiences more daylight than any other creature on Earth. It lives in a world of almost perpetual sunshine. It sees more sunrises and sunsets than any other animal. It chases the sun around the planet year after year, following an endless summer. The route the Arctic tern takes is not a straight line. That would require flying over vast stretches of empty ocean with no place to rest or feed. Instead, the terns follow the coastlines. They ride the prevailing winds. They trace a great sweeping S-curve down the Atlantic, hugging the coasts of Europe and Africa before crossing to South America and continuing down to Antarctica. On the return journey, they take a different path. They swing wide over the middle of the Atlantic, taking advantage of wind patterns that would hinder them on the southbound trip, but help them heading north. This is one of the secrets of bird migration. Birds do not simply fly from point A to point B, they read the wind. They understand atmospheric patterns that human meteorologists have only recently begun to map. They know which routes will help them and which will exhaust them. And they remember. Year after year, they refine their routes. They learn from experience. Older birds become more efficient migrants. They find the best paths, the best stopover sites, the best feeding grounds along the way. The Arctic tern's journey reminds us that migration is not just about survival, it is about optimization, about finding the best possible conditions for living.
The terns could survive in a single location, many birds do, but by chasing the endless summer, they thrive. They find abundant food, they raise healthy chicks, they live long lives. In a sense, the Arctic tern has solved a problem that humans have only dreamed of solving. It has found a way to escape winter entirely, to live always in the light, to follow the sun wherever it goes.
If the Arctic tern holds the record for the longest annual migration, another bird holds an equally impressive record, the longest non-stop flight. The Bar-tailed Godwit is a shorebird. It breeds in the tundra of Alaska and Siberia. It winters in Australia and New Zealand. And to get from one place to the other, it does something that seems almost impossible. It flies across the Pacific Ocean without stopping, without eating, without drinking, without sleeping in any meaningful way. The distance is approximately 7,000 miles. The flight takes about 9 days. Let that sink in for a moment. 9 days of continuous flight over open ocean with no possibility of landing, no islands to rest upon, no ships to pause on, just water in every direction for thousands of miles. The bar-tailed godwit achieves this feat through extreme physiological adaptation. Before departure, the bird undergoes a remarkable transformation. Its digestive organs, stomach, intestines, liver, kidneys, shrink dramatically. These organs are heavy, they consume energy, and for a bird about to fly 7,000 miles, every gram matters. In place of these organs, the godwit builds up enormous fat reserves. By the time it departs Alaska, fat may account for more than half its body weight. This fat is the fuel tank that will power the journey. The godwit also possesses an extraordinary ability to sleep while flying. Not deep sleep, not the restorative sleep we humans need, but a kind of micro-sleep, where one half of the brain rests while the other remains alert. This allows the bird to continue flying, continue navigating, even as parts of its brain take brief periods of rest. Scientists have tracked these godwits using satellite transmitters. The data they have gathered is remarkable. The birds fly at altitudes of up to 15,000 feet. They ride the winds of the Pacific, adjusting their altitude to find favorable currents. They lose half their body weight during the crossing. When they land in New Zealand, they are exhausted, emaciated, barely able to stand. But they have made it. They have crossed an ocean. They have completed one of the most demanding journeys in the natural world. And then, after resting and feeding for several months, they do it again. They fly back to Alaska. Some take a different route on the return journey, stopping at staging areas in Asia. Others attempt the non-stop crossing once more. The bar-tailed godwit forces us to reconsider what we think is possible. A bird weighing less than a pound, flying for 9 days straight, crossing an ocean that would take a sailing ship weeks to traverse. It is a reminder that the natural world is full of achievements that dwarf our own, that creatures we might overlook, birds we might not even recognize, are performing feats of endurance that no human could match.
How do birds find their way? This question has puzzled humans for centuries. How does a young bird, raised in one location, fly thousands of miles to a place it has never been? How does it navigate across featureless oceans, trackless deserts, unfamiliar landscapes? The answer, we now know, involves multiple overlapping systems. Birds do not rely on a single method of navigation. They use many, cross-referencing one against another to maintain their course. One of the most beautiful of these methods is celestial navigation. Birds, like ancient human sailors, navigate by the stars. This was first demonstrated in the 1960s through a series of elegant experiments. Researchers took migratory birds and placed them in planetariums. They showed the birds an artificial night sky, and they discovered something remarkable. The birds oriented themselves based on the position of the stars. But the birds were not simply memorizing star patterns as we might memorize a map. They were detecting the rotation of the night sky around the celestial pole. In the northern hemisphere, this is the point around which all the stars appear to rotate. It is marked approximately by Polaris, the North Star. Young birds, it turns out, must learn to navigate by the stars. They do this during a critical period in their development, before their first migration. They watch the night sky, they observe how it rotates, they identify the point of rotation and use it to determine north. This explains why young birds must be able to see the stars during their development. Experiments have shown that birds raised without a view of the night sky are unable to navigate properly. They have not had the chance to calibrate their celestial compass. But star navigation only works at night and only when the sky is clear. What do birds do during the day? What do they do when clouds obscure the stars? They use other methods, many other methods. Perhaps the most mysterious of all bird navigation abilities is their sensitivity to the Earth's magnetic field. The Earth is, in essence, a giant magnet. It has a magnetic North Pole and a magnetic South Pole. Invisible lines of magnetic force emanate from these poles and curve around the planet. These lines vary in intensity and angle depending on where you are on Earth. Birds can sense these magnetic fields. They use them as a kind of invisible map overlaid on the physical landscape. But how? How does a bird perceive something as ethereal as magnetism? The answer appears to involve two separate systems. The first is located in the bird's beak. Here, tiny crystals of magnetite, a naturally magnetic mineral, have been found in some species. These crystals may act as miniature compass needles, responding to the Earth's magnetic field and sending signals to the brain. But the second system is even more extraordinary. It involves the bird's eyes. In the retina of a bird's eye, there are specialized proteins called cryptochromes. These proteins are sensitive to blue light. When blue light strikes them, they undergo a chemical reaction that is influenced by magnetic fields. This means the bird may actually see the magnetic field, superimposed on its normal vision. Imagine looking at the world and seeing not just colors and shapes, but also an overlay of magnetic information, a kind of heads-up display showing you which way is north, showing you the intensity and angle of the magnetic field, giving you at every moment a sense of exactly where you are on the planet. This is what birds may experience, a rich, multi-dimensional perception of space that we can barely imagine. The magnetic sense works in concert with other navigation methods. When a bird can see the sun, it uses the sun as a compass, correcting for its movement across the sky using an internal clock. When the stars are visible, it uses celestial navigation. When neither is available, it falls back on its magnetic sense. And underlying all of this is memory. Birds remember landmarks. They remember coastlines, river systems, mountain ranges. They build mental maps of the world, refined over years of experience. A migratory bird is not blindly following instinct. It is navigating,
actively, intelligently, using every resource at its disposal. It is reading the world in ways we are only beginning to understand.
Across the planet, there are great rivers of birds, invisible highways in the sky, traveled by billions of migrants every year. Ornithologists call these flyways, and they form the major arteries of global bird migration. There are 8 principal flyways in the world. Let us trace them one by one and meet some of the travelers who use them. The Atlantic Americas Flyway runs along the eastern coast of North and South America. It carries birds from the Canadian Arctic to the tip of Patagonia. Shorebirds use this route: sandpipers, plovers, turnstones. So do warblers, thrushes, and raptors. In autumn, hawks stream down the Appalachian Mountains in numbers that darken the sky. The Mississippi Americas Flyway follows the Great River Valley through the heart of North America. It is a superhighway for waterfowl, ducks, geese, swans. Millions of birds funnel down this corridor each autumn, following the river south to the Gulf of Mexico and beyond. The Central Americas Flyway crosses the Great Plains. It is the route of the sandhill crane, whose ancestors have walked and flown this path for millions of years. Their calls echo across the prairies as they pass, an ancient sound that connects us to deep time. In the Eastern Hemisphere, there are 4 more flyways. The East Atlantic Flyway connects the Arctic regions of Europe to the wetlands of West Africa. Millions of waders depend on this route, stopping at crucial staging areas along the way. The Wadden Sea, a vast intertidal zone along the coasts of the Netherlands, Germany, and Denmark, is one of the most important stopover sites in the world. The Mediterranean Black Sea Flyway carries birds over southern Europe and the Middle East. It is the route of the white stork, beloved in European folklore. Storks have been following this path for so long that ancient peoples took their arrival as a sign of spring itself. The Central Asian Flyway spans the vast interior of Asia. It crosses steppes, deserts, and the highest mountains on Earth. Birds following this route must navigate the Himalayas, flying through mountain passes at altitudes where humans cannot breathe. The East Asian Australasian Flyway is perhaps the most threatened of all. It connects Siberia to Australia, passing through the coastal wetlands of China, Korea, and Southeast Asia. These wetlands are disappearing at an alarming rate, claimed for agriculture and development. The birds that depend on them are declining rapidly. Each of these flyways is a world unto itself. Each has its own rhythms, its own challenges, its own travelers. And yet they are all connected. They are all part of the same global phenomenon, the annual movement of billions of birds across the face of the planet.
Migration is not a gentle journey. It is one of the most dangerous things a bird can do. Consider the obstacles, the physical barriers that must be crossed. The Sahara Desert stretches for 3,000 miles, offering no water, little food, and searing heat. The Mediterranean Sea must be crossed in a single flight for many species. The Gulf of Mexico is 600 miles wide with no land in sight. These barriers take a heavy toll. It is estimated that more than half of all migratory songbirds that leave North America in autumn do not return in spring. They die along the way, from exhaustion, from starvation, from predation, from storms that blow them off course. Predators know the flyways. They gather at migration bottlenecks, places where geography funnels the birds through narrow corridors. At the Straits of Gibraltar, where Europe and Africa nearly touch, millions of birds cross each year, and waiting for them are Eleonora's falcons, specialized hunters that have evolved to exploit this abundance. The falcons breed in autumn, timing their nesting to coincide with the migration. They hunt the exhausted travelers, capturing them in mid-air. They feed them to their growing chicks. It is brutal, yes, but it is also beautiful. A predator so perfectly attuned to its prey that it has shaped its entire life around the migrant's passage. Weather is another enemy. Migratory birds are at the mercy of atmospheric conditions. A favorable wind can carry them hundreds of miles with little effort. An unfavorable wind can stop them in their tracks, forcing them to land and wait, burning precious fat reserves. Storms are worse. A sudden storm can scatter a migrating flock across hundreds of miles. It can drive birds out to sea, where they become disoriented and exhausted. Mass mortality events occur when weather turns against the migrants. Birds fall from the sky by the thousands, victims of cold, rain, and wind. And then there are the hazards that humans have added to the journey. Light pollution is a growing problem. Migratory birds navigate partly by the stars. Artificial lights can confuse them, drawing them towards cities where they circle in confusion, exhausting themselves. Illuminated buildings are particularly dangerous. Birds see the light and fly toward it, often colliding with windows. In North America alone, hundreds of millions of birds die each year from window strikes. Radio towers, wind turbines, power lines, all of these claim migrants. The structures themselves are hazards, but so are the guy wires that support towers, nearly invisible in the darkness. Habitat loss affects migrants at both ends of their journey and everywhere in between. A bird may successfully navigate 5,000 miles only to arrive at a wintering ground that has been converted to farmland or shopping centers. The wetlands where it once fed have been drained. The forests where it once rested have been cleared. Migratory birds are uniquely vulnerable to habitat loss because they depend on multiple locations. A resident bird needs only one suitable habitat. A migrant needs breeding habitat, wintering habitat, and stopover habitat in between. If any of these is destroyed, the bird cannot complete its life cycle. Climate change is adding new pressures. Migration has evolved over millions of years to coincide with seasonal patterns. Birds arrive at their breeding grounds when insects are emerging, when plants are flowering, when conditions are optimal for raising young. But climate change is shifting these patterns. Springs are arriving earlier, insects are emerging sooner, and many birds, still following ancient cues, are arriving too late. The food they depend on has already peaked. Their chicks go hungry. This mismatch, as scientists call it, is one of the most insidious effects of climate change on migratory birds. It is not as dramatic as a storm or a predator attack, but it is slowly, steadily reducing the survival of young birds. Populations are declining as a result. Despite all of these challenges, migratory birds persist. They have been making these journeys for millions of years. They have survived ice ages, continental drift, mass extinctions. They are resilient in ways we can barely comprehend. But they need our help. They need dark skies, clean water, protected habitats. They need us to understand that the world is interconnected, that a bird crossing the Atlantic is carrying with it the hopes of ecosystems on 2 continents. Let us pause now to consider a more intimate story, A story of one species and one place. A story that has captured human imagination for centuries. In Southern California, there is a small town called San Juan Capistrano. At its heart stands an old Spanish mission founded in 1776. And every spring, like clockwork, the swallows return. These are cliff swallows, graceful birds with forked tails and rust-colored throats. They spend their winters in Argentina, more than 6,000 miles to the south. And every March they fly north, returning to the mission where their ancestors have nested for generations. The swallows build their nests from mud. They attach them to the walls and arches of the mission, creating intricate structures that look like tiny jugs turned on their sides. Inside each nest, eggs are laid, chicks are raised, and a new generation of swallows learns to fly. The return of the swallows has been celebrated in San Juan Capistrano for over a century. A festival marks their arrival. Songs have been written about them. The most famous, When the Swallows Returned to Capistrano, was a hit in 1940. According to local legend, the swallows return on March 19th each year, the feast day of St. Joseph. This is not quite accurate. The bird's arrival varies depending on weather and conditions along their route, but the legend persists because it speaks to something deep in the human heart. We want nature to be reliable. We want the seasons to turn in predictable ways. We want to know that spring will come, that the birds will return, that life will renew itself. The swallows of Capistrano give us this reassurance. They are a living calendar, marking the passage of the year more faithfully than any human invention. But the swallow's story also illustrates the fragility of migration. In recent decades, fewer and fewer swallows have returned to the mission. Development in the surrounding area has reduced the insect populations the swallows depend on. Restoration work on the mission itself has removed some of the surfaces where the birds once built their nests. The swallows have not disappeared entirely. They still return, but their numbers are diminished. The festival continues, but it is now as much about memory as about reality, about what once was, about what we hope might be again. In some ways, the swallows of Capistrano are a symbol of all migratory birds. They connect us to the rhythms of the natural world. They remind us that we are part of something larger than ourselves, and they warn us that these connections are fragile, that they require care and attention to maintain.
As autumn settles over the northern latitudes, a sound echoes across the sky, a sound that has meant the same thing to humans for thousands of years. The wild geese are moving south. The honking of geese in flight is one of the most evocative sounds in nature. It stirs something primal in us, a recognition that the world is changing, that winter is coming, that everything that can move is moving. Geese migrate in family groups. Unlike many songbirds, which migrate individually or in loose flocks, geese travel with their mates, their offspring, and their extended relatives. When you see a V formation of Canada geese crossing the autumn sky, you are looking at a family reunion in motion. The V formation itself is a masterpiece of efficiency. Each bird flies slightly above and behind the bird in front of it. This positioning allows it to take advantage of the updraft created by the wingtips of the leading bird. It reduces drag, it saves energy, it allows the flock to fly farther than any individual could alone. The lead position is the hardest. The bird at the front of the V is breaking the wind for everyone behind it. It is doing the most work, so the geese rotate. When the leader tires, it falls back into the formation and another bird takes its place. This is cooperation at its most elegant. No single bird is in charge. No hierarchy determines who leads. The flock is a democracy of effort, each member contributing according to its strength. The honking serves a purpose too. It is communication. It is encouragement. The birds behind are calling to the birds in front, urging them on. Studies have shown that geese honk more frequently when the flock is in danger of becoming scattered, when individuals are falling behind, when the formation is threatened. Imagine flying for hours, your wings aching, your reserves depleted, and behind you, you hear the voices of your family, your flock, calling you forward, telling you that you are not alone, that they are with you, that together you will make it. There is a lesson in the geese for us about the power of community, about the importance of sharing the burden, about the strength that comes from not flying alone.
In the world of bird migration, there are athletes, and then there are hummingbirds. These tiny birds, some weighing less than a nickel, undertake migrations that seem impossible for their size. The ruby-throated hummingbird, a jewel of emerald and crimson, breeds in the eastern United States and Canada. It winters in Central America. To get there, many ruby-throated hummingbirds fly straight across the Gulf of Mexico, a non-stop flight of 500 miles over open water. For a bird that weighs about as much as a few paper clips, this is an extraordinary feat. Hummingbirds have the highest metabolism of any bird. Their hearts beat over 1,000 times per minute. They must eat constantly just to stay alive. And yet they fly for 18 to 22 hours without stopping, without eating, without drinking. How do they do it? The answer, as with the Godwit, is preparation. In the weeks before migration, hummingbirds enter a phase of hyperphagia, excessive eating. They feed voraciously on nectar and insects, building up fat reserves. They may nearly double their body weight. This fat is their fuel. It powers their wings through hundreds of miles of open water, through headwinds and rain, through the long night and into the next day. The hummingbirds that survive this crossing arrive on the coast of the Yucatan Peninsula, exhausted but alive. They feed, they rest, they continue southward to their wintering grounds. In spring, they do it all again, flying back across the Gulf to their breeding territories in the north. What drives such a tiny creature to attempt such a dangerous journey? Why not simply winter along the Gulf Coast, where the climate is mild? The answer lies in competition. Breeding territories in the north offer abundant flowers and insects during the summer months. A hummingbird that claims a good territory there can raise more chicks than one that stays in the crowded south. The migration is worth the risk because the reward, reproductive success, is so great. Evolution has weighed the costs and benefits, and for the ruby-throated hummingbird, the calculation favors the dangerous crossing.
For all that we have learned about bird migration, mysteries remain. Perhaps they always will. The natural world is deeper than our understanding. richer than our science can fully capture. One mystery involves the inheritance of migratory routes. How do young birds, migrating for the first time, know where to go? In some species, young birds follow their parents, learning the route through experience. But in many others, the young migrate alone. They leave weeks after the adults. They have no guide. And yet they find their way. They fly to wintering grounds they have never seen. They follow routes their bodies somehow remember, even though they have never traveled them. We know that genetics plays a role. The direction and distance of migration are inherited traits. Breeding experiments have shown this clearly, but the details, how a genetic code translates into a map in a bird's brain, remain unclear. Another mystery involves the remarkable precision of sight fidelity. Many migratory birds return not just to the same region each year, but to the exact same location, the same tree, the same nest site, the same perch. A golden-crowned sparrow banded in California was recorded returning to the same backyard for 8 consecutive winters. It traveled thousands of miles each way, and each time it found its way back to the same garden. How is this possible? The bird has no GPS. It cannot read maps. It has only its senses and its memory, and yet it navigates with a precision that would challenge our best technology. Perhaps the most profound mystery is consciousness itself. What does a migrating bird experience? Is it aware of its journey? Does it feel anticipation as it approaches its destination? Does it feel relief when it finally lands? We cannot know. We cannot enter the mind of a bird. We can only observe its behavior and wonder. But perhaps that is enough. Perhaps the mystery is part of the beauty. Perhaps the things we cannot explain are the things that keep us looking up, night after night, watching the skies for travelers we will never fully understand.
Most songbird migration happens in darkness. This may seem counterintuitive. Birds are creatures of daylight. They feed by day. They sing by day. Their vision is adapted for sunlight. And yet, when it comes to migration, most songbirds prefer the night. There are several reasons for this. Night air is typically calmer than daytime air. The thermals and turbulence created by the sun's heating of the ground subside after dark. Smooth air means easier flying. Predators are also less active at night. Hawks and falcons, the great hunters of the bird world, rely on vision. They cannot hunt in darkness. A warbler flying at night is safer from predators than one flying by day. And there are navigational advantages as well. The stars, as we have discussed, provide a reliable compass. The air is cooler, reducing the risk of overheating. The birds can spend the daylight hours resting and feeding, building up the reserves they will need for the next night's flight. If you step outside on a clear autumn night and listen carefully, you may hear them. Soft chips and calls drifting down from the darkness above. Flight calls, they are called,
brief vocalizations that help birds stay in contact with their traveling companions. Each species has its own flight call. With practice, you can learn to recognize them: the thin seat of a thrush, the sharp chip of a warbler, the buzzy zeep of a sparrow. Listening to night migration is a profound experience. You stand in darkness, gazing up at stars, and you hear, falling from the sky, the voices of travelers you cannot see. Birds that left their breeding grounds hundreds of miles to the north. Birds that will reach their wintering grounds hundreds of miles to the south, passing overhead like ghosts, like whispers, like memories of summer fading into the dark. Scientists have developed technologies to study night migration. Weather radar can detect the signatures of migrating birds. Acoustic monitors can record their flight calls. Satellite transmitters can track individual birds across continents. But there is still something magical about simply standing outside and listening, about being present for a phenomenon that has occurred every autumn for millions of years, about feeling, however briefly, connected to the great river of life flowing through the night.
What autumn takes away, spring restores. The birds that left us in fall return in the warming days of spring, and their return is, if anything, more remarkable than their departure. Spring migrants are in a hurry. They have territories to claim, mates to attract, nests to build. Every day matters. The birds that arrive earliest often secure the best territories, the best mates, the best chances of reproductive success. So they push hard, they fly longer distances, they take more risks, they press northward even when the weather is uncertain, racing to be first to the breeding grounds. This urgency gives spring migration a different character than fall migration. In autumn, the birds drift southward almost leisurely. They have time. Winter is coming, but it is not here yet. They can stop, feed, rest, wait for favorable conditions. In spring, there is no waiting. The biological imperative to breed is overwhelming. The birds fly as far and as fast as they can. This is why spring migration is so concentrated. In autumn, birds may pass through a given location over a period of weeks. In spring, the same number of birds may pass in a matter of days. The peak of spring migration is intense, dramatic, fleeting. And then, suddenly, it is over. The forests are full of song. The wetlands are full of waders. The grasslands are full of sparrows. The migrants have arrived. What happens next is the purpose of the whole enterprise, the reason for all those miles, all that danger, all that effort. Breeding. The males sing to establish territories and attract mates. The females evaluate the males, choosing the strongest, the healthiest, the best singers. Pairs form, nests are built, eggs are laid. And in a few short weeks, a new generation of birds will hatch. They will grow, fledge, learn to fly, and in autumn, many of them will make their first migration. They will follow the ancient routes their parents followed. They will navigate by stars and magnetic fields. They will face predators and storms and exhaustion. And if they are lucky, if they are strong, if the conditions favor them, they will survive. They will winter in the south, and next spring they will return to breed, to raise young of their own, to continue a cycle that has been turning since before humans walked the earth.
Not
All migrants travel by night. The great birds of prey, hawks, eagles, falcons, migrate by day, and they use a different method of travel: soaring. Soaring flight is elegant and efficient. Instead of flapping their wings, raptors ride thermals, columns of warm air that rise from the sun-heated ground. They circle within these thermals, spiraling upward with minimal effort. When they reach the top, they glide toward the next thermal, losing altitude slowly before riding another column of warm air back up. This method of travel is nearly effortless. The birds can cover vast distances while barely flapping their wings, but it has limitations. Thermals only form over land, where the sun heats the surface. Over water, the air remains cool and stable. Thermals do not form. This is why migrating raptors avoid large bodies of water. They follow the land, funneling through narrow passages where continents nearly touch. The result is one of nature's great spectacles, the raptor migration bottleneck. At places like Veracruz in Mexico, the Strait of Gibraltar, and Eilat in Israel, millions of raptors pass through each autumn. They stream overhead in rivers of wings, sometimes so dense they can be seen on radar. At Veracruz, on a peak day, over 1 million raptors may pass. Broad-winged hawks, turkey vultures, Swainson's hawks, species from across North America, funneling through this narrow corridor between the Gulf of Mexico and the mountains. The experience of witnessing such a concentration of birds is overwhelming. The sky fills with spiraling shapes. The air hums with their wing beats. For hours they pass, an endless procession of predators, all moving with the same purpose, all following the same invisible highway. These bottlenecks have been known to humans for millennia. Ancient peoples watched the raptors pass and wondered. Some cultures saw the birds as omens. Others hunted them for food. Still others simply marveled at their numbers. Today we understand the phenomenon scientifically, but understanding does not diminish the wonder. If anything, it deepens it. To know why the raptors gather here, to understand the thermals and the geography that channel them, is to appreciate even more the intricate connections that bind the natural world together.
Sometimes, despite all their remarkable navigational abilities, birds get lost. They end up far from their normal range, in places they have no business being. Ornithologists call these birds vagrants, and they are a source of endless fascination. Vagrants can appear anywhere. A Siberian species might show up in California. A European bird might land on the East Coast. A tropical species might turn up in Canada. What causes vagrancy? Sometimes it is storms. A powerful weather system can catch a migrating bird and carry it thousands of miles off course. Hurricanes are particularly effective at displacing tropical species northward. Sometimes it is navigational error.
Young birds, making their first migration, occasionally misinterpret their internal compass. A bird that should be flying south might instead fly west. This phenomenon, called reverse migration, can carry birds in exactly the wrong direction. Sometimes the cause is unclear. A bird simply appears where it should not be, offering no explanation for its presence. For bird watchers, vagrants are treasures. They attract attention from across the region, even across the country. A rare vagrant can draw hundreds of observers, all hoping to catch a glimpse of something extraordinary. But for the bird itself, vagrancy is usually a tragedy. Lost birds rarely find their way home. They have no idea where they are. They cannot correct their course. They are alone, surrounded by unfamiliar species, unfamiliar landscapes, unfamiliar challenges. Most vagrants do not survive. They may find food and shelter for a time. They may linger for days or weeks, but eventually the stresses of displacement take their toll. Still, occasionally, a vagrant does something remarkable. It survives, it adapts, and sometimes it finds others of its kind, other vagrants that have made the same mistake. This is one way new populations are established. A few lost birds finding each other in an unfamiliar place, breeding, raising young. Over generations, what began as an accident becomes a new population, a new migration route, a new chapter in the species' history. Evolution works in mysterious ways. What seems like failure, getting hopelessly lost, can become the seed of something new.
Migratory birds carry more than just their bodies from one place to another. They carry their songs. Birdsong is learned. Young birds hear the songs of their parents and neighbors, and through practice learn to reproduce them. This learning occurs during a critical period in the bird's development, usually in the first year of life. But here is the remarkable thing. Migratory birds learn their songs in one location and carry them to another. A bird that hatches in Canada and winters in Mexico carries the song of the Canadian forest into the Mexican jungle. This creates a kind of cultural geography. Birds from different breeding populations carry different song dialects. You can sometimes identify where a bird came from by listening to its song. Song dialects can persist for generations. A population of birds in one valley may sing a slightly different version of the species' song than a population in the next valley. These differences are cultural, not genetic. They are traditions passed from parent to offspring through learning. Migration complicates this picture. When birds from different populations mix on the wintering grounds, they may hear each other's songs. Young birds may incorporate elements of foreign dialects into their own singing. Cultural exchange occurs across continents. Some researchers believe that migratory birds may even learn songs on the wintering grounds and carry them back to the breeding grounds. A bird that winters in Costa Rica might pick up musical phrases from Costa Rican populations and bring them north to Alaska. If true, this would mean that bird songs are not static. They are not fixed by genetics or even by the culture of the breeding grounds. They are fluid, evolving, influenced by the entire geographic range of the species. Migration, in this view, is not just a physical journey. It is a cultural exchange, a mixing of traditions, a reminder that the world is interconnected in ways we are only beginning to understand.
What does the future hold for migratory birds? The answer, unfortunately, is uncertain. The challenges facing migrants are intensifying. Climate change is altering the timing of seasons, disrupting the synchrony between birds and their food sources. Habitat loss continues at an alarming rate, particularly in the tropical regions where many migrants spend the winter. Light pollution, building strikes, and other human-caused hazards claim billions of birds each year. The numbers are stark. A study published in 2019 found that North America has lost nearly 3 billion birds since 1970. That is a decline of 29% in just 50 years. Many of the hardest-hit species are migratory. The decline is not evenly distributed. Some species are holding steady or even increasing. Others are plummeting toward extinction. The cerulean warbler, a gem of the eastern forests, has declined by more than 70%. The rusty blackbird, once common across the boreal zone, has lost 90% of its population. What can be done? Conservation efforts are underway on many fronts. Habitat protection is crucial. The establishment of protected areas along flyways, particularly at crucial stopover sites, can make a significant difference. International cooperation is essential, since migratory birds cross borders freely and depend on habitat in multiple countries. Efforts to reduce light pollution are gaining traction. Many cities have adopted programs to dim lights during peak migration periods. Building designs are being modified to make windows more visible to birds. These measures are simple and relatively inexpensive, and they save millions of lives each year. Climate change is a larger challenge. It requires global action on a scale we have not yet achieved. But even here, there is room for hope. As the world transitions away from fossil fuels, as forests are protected and restored, the worst impacts of climate change may be averted. And there is always the resilience of the birds themselves. They have survived for millions of years. They have adapted to ice ages and warm periods, to shifting continents and rising seas. They are not fragile. They are tough, resourceful, enduring. What they need from us is space, room to live, to migrate, to raise their young. If we can give them that, they will continue their journeys. They will continue to fill our skies with wings and our nights with calls. They will remind us each spring and each autumn that the world is vast and interconnected and endlessly renewing.
Let us pause now and imagine ourselves in the midst of migration. It is October. We are standing on a ridge in the Appalachian Mountains, looking east. The sun has set. The stars are emerging. The air is cool and still. Below us, the forest is dark and quiet. The trees are shedding their leaves, preparing for winter. The insects that filled the summer nights are gone. Silence has settled over the landscape. But overhead, the sky is alive. We cannot see them. It is too dark for that, but we can hear them. Soft chips and calls drifting down from the blackness above. Hundreds of them, thousands, an invisible river of birds flowing south. They are warblers mostly, yellow-rumped warblers, the last to leave and the first to return. Birds, their sharp chip unmistakable. Thrushes, Swainson's, veery, wood, their ethereal whistles falling like shooting stars.
They are flying at altitudes of 1,000 to 3,000 feet. They are riding a gentle north wind, pushed along by air currents we cannot feel from the ground. They have been flying for hours, since dusk, and they will fly until dawn. Where did they come from? Perhaps from the boreal forests of Canada, where they spent the summer raising their young. Perhaps from the woods of New York or Vermont or Maine. We cannot know. They are anonymous travelers, part of a vast migration that spans a continent. Where are they going? South, to the Gulf Coast, to Mexico, to Central America, to the Caribbean, to South America. Destinations scattered across the Western Hemisphere, each bird following its own inherited map. As we listen, we become aware of the scale of what is happening. This is not a local phenomenon. This is not just the birds of this ridge, this valley, this county. This is a continental event. Millions of birds are on the move tonight. Across the eastern seaboard, from Florida to Newfoundland, they are flying. Across the Great Plains, along the Pacific coast, over the Gulf of Mexico. We are witnessing one of the great migrations of the planet, and we are witnessing it from a single point, like watching a river from one spot on the bank. The water that flows past us has come from far upstream and is heading far downstream. We see only a moment, a glimpse of a much larger journey. The calls continue to drift down. The stars wheel slowly overhead. The night deepens. And we stand there in the darkness, and we listen. And we feel, perhaps for the first time, how connected we are to something vast and ancient and ongoing. How the birds passing overhead are threads in a tapestry that covers the world. How their journey is, in some small way, our journey too.
What can we learn from migratory birds? What do their journeys teach us about life, about endurance, about the nature of the world? Perhaps the first lesson is this: trust the journey. Migratory birds set out into the unknown with complete commitment. They do not know if they will survive. They do not know what storms they will face, what predators await them, what obstacles lie ahead. But they go anyway. They fly into the darkness, trusting that the instincts that have guided their kind for millions of years will guide them too. Perhaps the second lesson is this: community matters. The geese that fly in V formation know that together they are stronger than alone. They share the burden of leadership. They call out encouragement to those who are struggling. They do not leave their weakest members behind. Perhaps the third lesson is this: home is not a place, it is a relationship. Migratory birds have two homes, sometimes more. They belong to multiple landscapes, multiple ecosystems, multiple communities. They are at home in the Arctic and in the Antarctic, in the forests of Canada and the wetlands of South America. Home for them is wherever life can be lived fully. Perhaps the fourth lesson is this: the world is one. There are no borders in the sky. A bird that hatches in Alaska and winters in Argentina is a citizen of the entire hemisphere. Its well-being depends on the health of ecosystems across multiple continents. What happens in the wetlands of China affects the shorebirds of Australia. What happens in the forests of Brazil affects the warblers of North America. We humans have built walls and borders. We have divided the world into nations and territories. But the birds remind us that these divisions are artificial, that the air we breathe, the water we drink, the life we share does not recognize our boundaries. Perhaps if we listened to the birds, we would understand this better. We would see the world as they see it, connected, interdependent, whole. The journey we have taken tonight has covered the planet. We have followed the Arctic Tern from pole to pole. We have crossed the Pacific with the Godwit. We have ridden the thermals with the raptors. We have listened to the night calls of warblers in the dark. But all journeys must end, and from migratory birds, the end of every journey is a return. In spring, the birds that left us in autumn come back. They return to the forests where they were raised. They return to the meadows where they first learned to fly. They return to the neighborhoods, the backyards, the trees where their parents nested before them. This return is the heart of migration. The journey south is about survival. The journey north is about renewal, about breeding, about bringing new life into the world. When the birds return, they carry spring with them. Their songs announce the end of winter. Their colors brighten the greening landscape. Their nests, woven into trees and tucked into grasses, become centers of new life. And so the cycle continues, as it has for millions of years, as it will, we hope, for millions more. The night has grown late. The stars have wheeled across the sky. The first hint of dawn is perhaps beginning to lighten the eastern horizon. Somewhere above us, birds are still flying. They are still following the ancient routes. They are still navigating by stars and magnetic fields, by memory and instinct, by the wisdom encoded in their bones. Tomorrow night, they will fly again, and the night after, and the night after that, until they reach their destination, until the journey is complete, until they can rest at last in the warmth of the southern sun. And then, in a few months, they will begin again. They will feel the stirring of Zuganru. They will eat and grow fat. They will wait for the night when the winds are right and the stars are bright, and they will take flight once more. This is the story of migration, endless, cyclical, renewing, a story written in wings and wind, a story as old as the birds themselves. Thank you for drifting with me tonight. I hope the journey has been a peaceful one. I hope the rhythm of wings has carried you as it carries the birds toward rest. Sleep well, and when you wake, perhaps step outside and look up. The sky is full of travelers. The ancient highways are busy with wings. The world is in motion, as it always has been, as it always will be. Good night from Drowsy Inquirer.